Hey everybody, this is Tim with Op-Ed Daily. I have got an extremely disturbing story for you guys, so please listen up. This is going to affect almost every single person in America. And if it doesn't affect you, it's going to affect somebody that you know. So this black guy, Paul Aker is his name, back in 1987, 29 years ago or something, if my math is correct. In my head, anyway. So 29 years ago, he pulls out $1,500 in federal student loans. Well, last week sometime, U.S. Marshals showed up at his house, guns drawn, ready to shoot this guy. Why? Because they knew that he was a registered gun owner. That's why they brought all 7 of them, and that's why they came with guns and in their combat fatigues looking like soldiers. These guys showed up looking like U.S. military. So they drag him into a jail cell. He's sitting there for an hour, and this is at the federal courthouse, by the way. So they drag him into this federal court, and does he see a U.S. attorney? No. Does he see a district attorney? No. Who does he see? A private attorney for a private debt collection agency that is working on behalf of the U.S. government to collect on federal student loan debt. And according to Representative, I believe he's Representative Gene Green is his name. He said that they recently passed a law that allowed private corporations to work with the federal courts in order to send out US Marshals to arrest people that owe money to the government. And now we're not talking about tax evasion here. We're talking about student loan debt. I want to point something out to everybody here. If you owe somebody money, including the United States government, that is a civil matter. That is not a criminal matter. That's very important to note right now before I get into what I'm about to talk about. It's a civil case. It's even listed as a civil case. So apparently back in, 2007, they start sending this guy, Paul Aker, they start sending him these letters. Now, he claims he never got any notice that he owed this money. So when these marshals show up, he doesn't know what the hell's going on. And when he asked them what the hell was going on, they told him to shut up and that he knew what they were there for. But he had no clue until he walked in front of that private attorney, and they made him, at that moment, sign a payment agreement under duress, and he was being coerced into signing this payment agreement. He doesn't have to agree to a payment agreement. He doesn't have to sign anything like that. So anyway, apparently they were trying to get a hold of this guy. He had been asked to go to court at some point, but it's acknowledged that the address that they had on file for him and the name on the court case was actually different than the name he goes by and different than the address that he was actually living at when they found him. So for years, these, this district judge or this private company keeps trying to get a hold of this guy and keeps telling him, you got to go in there. So this private attorney sets a court date. Paul Aker doesn't show up, and guess what happens? Well, the same thing that would happen to anybody that fails to appear in a civil court hearing. The attorney gets a default judgment against the person he's suing. If you don't show up to court, you're going to lose automatically 100% without a doubt. You're going to lose, and the person suing you is going to get every single penny that they're asking for and might even get more because the judge may be annoyed that you just never showed up. But you don't have to show up. That's the thing. Nobody has ever had to show up to a civil case. You don't have to. And in normal cases, what they would do, if you failed to pay after the default judgment was granted against you, then they would go back to court and file for garnishment papers. And then they would garnish your wages, or they would file for the ability to steal your bank, steal the money in your bank. So then they would go in there and wipe your bank account out. They literally take every single penny that you've got in your bank account once they get that judgment from the court. But that's normal court proceedings. But I ran across this Yahoo Finance article, and it made the claim that, yeah, he knew about it. In the beginning of this article, there's a, yeah, Paul Aker knew about it. Everybody's blowing up this story, but it's totally blown out of proportion, and they're not reporting on it properly. That's what this Monica, let's see what her name is, Monica Woodruff. Mandy Woodruff. That's what Mandy Woodruff writes. It paints it out like, the U.S. Marshals armed with automatic weapons came out and arrested him for only $1,500 in student loans, trying to make it out like, that's not what happened. And then it says, this all makes for a compelling headline, but Yahoo Finance has learned the true story is much different. And it claims that in 2007, he was sued by the federal government for non-payment of more than $2,600 in federal student loan debt. The $2,600 is the $1,500 ballooned because of accrued interest and fees and that sort of thing. But then it talks about the fact that they were sending this stuff to the wrong address. It even concedes to the fact that it could be possible that Aker didn't know about it. And then it even tries to say that Aker was never put in jail. Now, why the hell would he say that he was in jail for an hour if he wasn't in jail? Of course he was in jail. And then it even tried to claim that he resisted arrest and retreated back into his home. Of course he had retreated back into his home. He didn't know what the hell you were there for. He didn't know why you were there. Why would he come out and be like, yeah, hey, okay, you got all these assault weapons pointed at me. Yeah, let me come right at you. But apparently he told the deputies that he had a gun. So they called for backup. Additional deputy marshals showed up, and local law enforcement showed up. And after 2 hours, the law enforcement officers convinced Aker to peacefully exit his home, and he was arrested. But according to this article, he was never put in jail. Right. So these U.S. Marshals come to arrest him. He says, hey, I've got a gun and it's here for my protection. Yet they don't arrest him for threatening law enforcement or whatever. I don't buy that, especially since the guy's black. So he goes through all this, and then at the very end is probably the most disturbing part. It's got the court documents, and it shows that it is a civil action. H-06-3788 claim 111922. United States of America versus Winford P. Aker. And it lists the amount of money. And then you scroll down just a little bit more, and it's got an order to arrest. And it says, because Winford P. Aker failed to appear on December 14th, 2012, as ordered, the U.S. Marshals is to arrest him and bring him before this court immediately. But see, that's where things get messed up. Either the judge overextended his power by arresting this man for not showing up to a civil court case, or they changed the rules of law entirely that allowed judges to arrest individuals that don't show up for civil cases. So either the judge was wrong or we're really fucked as a country. I mean, either way, we're really fucked. But the point is that up until now, I've never heard of anybody ever being arrested in a civil case about money that they owed. Think of all the foreclosed houses, and think of all the lawsuits that these banks have brought against the tenants of those homes, the people that, the mortgagees, if you will. All those civil cases, those are civil cases. $250,000 that they owe, it's still a civil case in terms of its debt. Granted, I'm not sure exactly how that works. I know civil cases have a $2,500 maximum or whatever, but there are other types of civil cases that will be, that will grant judgment for larger sums. I'm not exactly sure how that works, but the premise is the same. It's a civil case. It's debt. There is no debtor's prison. You don't go to jail for owing people money, not even the federal government. You're not supposed to anyway. But that's the point here, is that this is showing that the Obama administration is actively pushing for arresting people that owe student loan debt. And we're talking about 29-year-old debt here. $1,500 is absolutely insane that somebody would go through this over a $1,500 student loan. Hell, that makes me worry because I owe more than that. I owe way more than that in student loan debt. So what are they going to do to me? Send the fucking, Navy SEALs to my house in the middle of the night? I mean, geez. Anyway, I wanted to bring this to you guys' attention. This is very important information. This is not just an odd story, because according to them, there are 1,200 to 1,500 other arrest warrants that they're sending out to people, and that they're sending the marshals to these people's houses to arrest them and bring them into court in front of those private attorneys, and then coerce them to sign those damned payment plans. And in my opinion, and based on the definition of extortion, that's extortion, where you use threats of bodily harm and threats of anything, and in this case, a threat of going to prison, to get somebody to do something, which in this case is to sign a contract under duress, which voids that contract. In my opinion, this guy needs to sue. He needs to sue the federal government. He needs to sue that judge and his court. And he needs to sue that private attorney. He also should sue the US Marshals office for having been a part of it. I would talk to an attorney if I was this guy, and I would sue anybody that I could for that particular instance. Sue them for extortion. Bring criminal charges against these people. That's extortion. Anyway, you guys really need to share this video, or at least share the articles or the links that I'm going to provide in the description, because this is insane. We cannot allow this in this country. We cannot do that. If we start going down this path, there is no stopping the U.S. government from arresting you for simply anything whatsoever. You owe Bank of America money because you got your house foreclosed, and the amount of money they auctioned your house off is different from what they loaned you before. So now you're still $60,000 in debt when your house is currently only worth $30,000. Are they going to work with the U.S. Marshal Service and a U.S. District Court judge to send out U.S. Marshals to your house to arrest you because you owe that money? That's what this is showing us that they're going to do. That's exactly what this is showing us. This is not just a crazy story. This is a very important story. Please share this video. Please like this video, and please leave a comment in the comment section below. And tell me what you guys think of this. In that Yahoo Finance article, it is full of people that, oh yeah, this scumbag needs to pay his bills. Oh, this piece of crap needs to pay his student loan debt. I don't want to have to pay for him. And then people wonder why this country is going down the shitter. People like that is why this country is going down the shitter. Anyway, that's it for now, guys. I will keep anybody updated on this story. Just hit the subscribe button, and I will post videos as I come across more information regarding this problem. This is Tim with Op-Ed Daily. Peace out.